Hello friends, welcome back to the craft room. I am really glad that you are here. I thought about cleaning up and then I quickly stopped thinking about cleaning up. So welcome to the chaos, friends. I'm done trying to impress you now. I've sucked you in and now the standards drop, I guess. Okay, this is the cutest little pattern. This is one block, and then we have our sawtooth star. This is a free pattern by Riley Blake. And although I love Riley Blake and I will only have good things to say about them, not a huge fan of how this pattern is written. It's just, I don't know, it's just hard to read. I'll walk you through it, but not a fan of the pattern. So there's that. If you would like it, go grab it. It's in their free pattern section. If you don't want to go grab it, then just listen to what I say because it's pretty simple. We are cutting the same pieces repeatedly. Let me show you though this quick little bundle. This is actually picked by Ella today and she did such a good job. So this is her anchor fabric. She picked this floral. This is by Rifle Paper Company, which if you've been here for a while, you know that I love Rifle Paper Company. And I do have the ability now to order from Cotton and Steel, which is the fabric company that prints for Rifle. And I was so excited to hit that milestone, but their opening purchase amount is $1,500. So that's pretty steep for my little shop. So I do have access to it. I am just slowly saving to be able to purchase because I mean that's like 18 bolts. I maybe do, I think the biggest order I've ever done has been 7 bolts. So we're getting there. We're getting there. But for now, I'll let you see this because it is so stinking cute. And then she picked the blue gingham, 2 kind of peachy pinks. She picked 2 greens and then 2 yellows. And this is going to be the cutest little combo. I decided that all of my floral blocks are going to be in the middle here. And even in the pattern, you can see that their stars are all different, but these middle kind of patchwork blocks are all the same. So we're going to try, you know, to actually do what a pattern says for the first time. And then we'll make our cute little sawtooth stars. Alexa, make an announcement.
What's the announcement?
Will someone check the cobbler, please?
Announcing.
I just remembered mid-sentence that I was cooking something. Yeah, you want to know me in a nutshell. There it was. Oh, heavens. And my little bun fell out. How rude. Today is something else. That's where we're at. Thanks, buddy. Thanks for letting me know. Thanks for checking on it for me. Thanks. What was I even saying? Let's start with this patchwork and then we'll move on to our star. You are going to need 1 4.5-inch square for the middle of your block. And then you are going to need 4 rectangles of your background. I'm just doing solid white so that the rest of these fabrics can really stand out. And then we are going to need 4 gingham squares. This construction is actually going to be very similar to the star because we are going to put 2 rectangles and sew those on either side of our middle. And then we're going to have the top row with a rectangle. And then our bottom with the same. And there's your block. So sew these all together into one row. Sew your middle chunk into a row and same with the bottom. And then combine your 3 and you've got our cute little patchwork block. Let's throw that one up there. Ta-da! Okay, that was the coolest. I have thrown things a couple of times back there, but I've never actually gotten them to stick. So That was pretty magical all in itself. Also, I realized while I was magicking those blocks that I had flying geese in the machine. So let's just add that to the chaos over there. Okay, so like I said earlier, these are easy to batch. So we're going to do a bunch of these at once. We're going to take one of our background triangles. This is 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches. So again, same size as these squares and these rectangles. And we are going to do that stitch and flip method, which pretty much means that we're going to put right sides together with our 2.5 inch squares. We're going to butt that up right in the corner, and then we are going to sew a diagonal across the middle of that square. If you would like to draw a line, this is 100% the time to do it. I actually have lines drawn on my machine to show me where my needle is, and so for little things like this, I can just eyeball it, so to speak. Here, I'll show you. Let me show you how I cheat. So here I have the tip of that corner already tucked under my foot there, but you can see that I have two lines drawn here. One is exactly with the 0, and then the other is lined up with the 1/4 inch. So as long as my fabrics stay where they should, as long as my points stay lined up with this 0 line, then I will draw, or I will be able to sew a straight stitch all the way through that without having to draw a diagonal every time. And there is actually washi tape, so the paper tape that you can buy, and you can do the same exact thing and just tape it to the front of the machine. I'm just really classy and I like to use Sharpie, so not to brag, but it's pretty high end. But I just like that because it shortcuts out drawing the diagonals, but if you feel more comfortable with diagonals, then do it. We're going to make 4 of those units per star. And then when we get that far, then we will trim and then we'll iron up and over and we'll catch up then. Does that sound good? Let's do it. I look like the Statue of Liberty of quilting ladies. This is what we are looking for. So you can see that seam going right across the middle. I did 4 of my light peachy colors, and then I did 4 of my darker peachy colors. I like to just trim with scissors because these are a smaller corner. We want that 1/4 inch seam allowance, but you can use your rotary cutter and a ruler, and you're going to line up that 1/4 inch line right on your seam, and then we'll trim off that excess. I really need to change my blade. Why do I keep punishing myself? I should just change the blade. So both results get what you need. If you're not feeling confident with cutting, then don't. Rotary cutter is great and perfect every time. And then we are going to iron this corner up and over. I like to set my seam, so I'll heat up the stitch before I even flip it. And then we'll get that nice and gentle and then push it over. And then I spray and pretty much just leave it there. And that is how I can kind of get my corners not to get all wonky. I know that everyone has their methods, but that seems to work for me. So let me trim and iron through the rest of these, and then we will add the other side of our flying geese. Ta-da! So magical, I know. There we have that unit ironed up and over. And now we're going to take our remaining pink squares and do the same thing, but just on the left side. And because my machine likes to eat corners, we'll just avoid that whole debacle from the get-go. And we're going to come at this angle through the middle this way. Same thing, but I just noticed that when I start my needle, usually on these ends, it like takes a second because there's a couple layers of fabric there by now. So just help scoot it along past the really thick bits and you'll be just fine. I'm going to sew the rest of those on to those 4 and then these other pink 4, and then we will have all of our flying geese for 2 stars all done at the same time. I love a good batch piecing. Let's finish these geese and then we will catch up. And there you have it, the stitch and flip version of flying geese. Not too shabby, right? Now we get to put this together, and this is straightforward. We've done stars before. So this is again a 4.5 inch square, same as that one. We're gonna put our flying geese all around to give us our star points. And then we will add our 4 corner squares. And this will make the same rows that we just did in that cute patchwork, where we'll sew our ends onto this flying geese to make a row, and then a big thick row, and then a skinny bottom row. Let's put these pinks together and add them up there because we need some pink going on. And there we have our cutie sawtooth star. I love that. And there's our lighter pink. So cute. I think it's amazing that our middles are the same, our squares are the same size, and even our white rectangles in here are the same size. We just use them a little bit differently, and look what totally different looks we get. Oh my gosh. Let's add some more stars up there. Okay, we're filling in a little bit more. We definitely need to add these two, but before I do, the pattern has a couple of options of stars. So if you don't want just solids, you could do opposites, which I think would be a very cute look as well. So we have the darker pink with the light pink points and vice versa. Let's get those up. That's looking a little bit more evened out, isn't it? Okay, on Thursday, we will be working on flower checks. I think we maybe have an episode or 2 of that one left. Right now, we're kind of in that phase of assembling the borders and then adding them. And there's really only so much you can record of that before you're like, okay, we get it. So flower checks will be wrapped up soon. We were going to do the Mary Stitches blocks. And although she hasn't debuted all of them, I think we could get started and just kind of do what we want with them. Or, and here's the big or, we can put a pause on the quilt along for right now, because I am drawing up a pattern for a starry quilt along. I know that I'm not the only one that loves stars, so that way we can do stars together and it will be an affordable pattern because I made it my dang self. So I have it all drawn up and I'm actually doing some tester blocks right now to like fine tune it. And I want to show you so bad, but I'm not gonna. And it's gonna kill me inside, but I'm not gonna show you. I'm gonna build that anticipation. But I'm really looking forward to that, so stay tuned. We'll figure out the new quilt along situation, I promise. So that is gonna be it for me tonight, friends. I smell peach cobbler, and yes, we are gonna have that peach cobbler for dinner because it has fruit in it, which is really healthy. And don't worry, we're going to put ice cream on top of it, which is dairy. You have 2 of the biggest food groups in one meal, and I am such a good mom. We're going to milk summer for all it's worth as long as we have it. So we will see you on Thursday, friends. Goodbye.